Hi, this is Santiago Zapata, and this is another live stream, live coding session of the development of OpenArthurianX6. And today I decided to split the session, so there was a 30 minutes session in the morning, and this is the second one. I'm going to make sure that, it seems we now have the correct info on the streaming. It seems, we think, okay. Anyways, let's jump straight into it. If you want to know what OpenArthurian is, just visit openarthurian.com. It's an engine to create RPGs similar to Ultima 6 in JavaScript using Phaser and Tiled mainly. And we're working on milestone 8 of the project. We got a list of a milestone plan in the website. We're working on milestone 8. And what we're going to do now is work on the so this morning we completed the fleeing AI, covering these two things. We're going to very quickly try to tackle this switching off combat mode, and then maybe start thinking around the NPC schedules, which is going to be fun. So let's check the switching off combat mode first. Let's open the game. I already got it running here. Okay. And we're going to check into this switching off combat mode. So there's a command to start combat, that is C. But there is no way to end combat. I mean, the only way to end combat is it ends automatically after your turn if there are no enemies nearby. So I mean, that's good enough, I guess. What we're going to do is just call the same code, but instead of doing that, when after the turn of the player, we're going to allow doing that as part of the combat turn, right? So we're going to check for the C key pressed, and then if there are no enemies nearby, we're going to let the player abandon combat mode. Let's check into that. We got a kind of singleton class or object rather called player state machine, and in here we switch to combat mode whenever the player presses C. And again, this is one of the things we tackled a couple sessions ago, was this keyboard handling inside the update function instead of it being event listener or something like that, which is not very ideal. In the end, in that session, we ended up doing the refactor instead of trying to fix it. But today, I think we can work around it. And what we're going to do is, if we are in combat, then we're going to try to end combat. So let's see, update combat action. No, there is no such thing. Update music action. Okay, let's see. Okay, so it seems these two states, world is like the normal state of being walking around in the world in peaceful mode, and combat, they share the same combat action, which is interesting. But makes sense because a lot of the actions that you can do, like the range attacks and everything, work in both modes. That means that when we press C and we're already in combat, it's actually trying to start combat again. Actually, oh, it seems, well, the turn is being spent and combat it's been over. So, but let's try something. I'm going to start combat, then attack rat, and then try to switch off combat, and it didn't work. Okay, but it's trying to, it's probably calling start combat again. I mean, there's nothing preventing that from happening. Yeah, It's just that it's probably not doing anything because we are already in combat mode. Well, it's actually trying to switch the state. But since this is the same state, then it does nothing. So what we're going to do is pretty simple in here. If we are already in combat mode, then if we are in world mode, then we start combat. Else we stop combat if we can. We try to stop combat. Is this the right way to check for state? Let me check to see that. Probably not. Well, triple equals player state machine. Okay. And combat. So this is where combat ends. So after acting, if we are still in combat state and it is safe around, then we try to end combat. So what I'm trying to figure out is if we cannot end combat, should we like spend that player's turn? I think that's the easiest thing to do. So let's copy that from here, but let's not duplicate code. So let's create a try to end combat function. And that function is going to have this. And we're just going to call that here. I wonder, no, it doesn't need any parameter. If we couldn't combat, then we already ended combat. If not, then we act in this case after the player's turn. But we are also going to use this here. if we could not end combat, I'm a bit worried here because this is a promise chain, but on the other hand, we are cutting it short here. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to return it. We are not like continuing the promise. Okay, we are. Okay. That may make things a little bit more complex. Because start combat returns 0. What? I mean, it's not returning a promise. And as we can see here, we are not doing anything with the return value. So yeah, I mean, the return value is not used here. I'm wondering that because I was wondering if also for ending the combat, we also got to return a promise. But it seems it's going to work fine like this. So if we're just going to try to end combat, that means that if we could not end the combat, then going to fall here. But okay, so let's return false. That means that we didn't act. Yeah, I don't want to make the player waste his turn if he was unable to switch combat mode. So we can just return true if he was able. If he was able to end the combat, then he acted. If not, then he didn't act. That should be enough. That should be enough. Let's try and see. Oh, build failed. 598. What happened? Comma, missing comma here. Okay. Again. Entering combat mode. Let's remove this breakpoint. We're in combat mode now, and we move. And again, since we don't have any enemy, it's taking us. It doesn't make a lot of. I mean, this is just like a shortcut because I could just take a turn. What I mean is that if I attack this rat, now if I enter combat mode, again, let's restart again. If I enter combat mode and then I attack the rat, then if I try to leave combat mode here, it's not going to let me, right? Because there's a enemy. The rat is now considered an enemy. So it doesn't do anything. Probably gotta show a message. Yeah. I think I gotta show a message here like you cannot end combat. Um, mhm. Yeah, here, something like this. If didn't end combat, put a message here like cannot leave combat mode, and then return this flag, this variable. Yeah, but besides, I mean, apart from that, and I will not be able to leave combat until I am safe, right? And if I am safe, then my next step is going to make me abandon combat mode. So it's pretty useless. I mean, being able to go off, or at least as I see it, unless we remove that restriction, like I believe it was possible, probably, no, it was not possible to leave combat mode in Ultima 6 and Savage Empire until you were safe, I believe. I may be wrong. I don't know. But yeah, let's just do it for the sake of completeness. Let's check include that message, including that message. I'm also going to test for some edge cases of like entering and leaving combat mode very quickly. So okay, so let's enter combat mode. We're in combat mode now. Attack the rat. Did I kill it? No, it's moving. Just trying to flee, but it cannot. And then let's try leaving combat mode. Cannot leave combat mode. Yeah, I wanted to see that message. Let's move. Let's try to kill this enemy. Ah, that's a bit an unexpected bug because it's a bug. Interesting. So this is related to the ammunition, I believe. Hmm. Yeah, consume ammunition. Iron bolts. Okay, so that's a different bug. So we got the ammunition, and we had ammunition, and then that ammunition is supposedly on the left hand. Huh. So what's the actual error? Variation. Oh, there's no error. It's just a breakpoint that went straight here. So no worries. I wonder if I still have the 2000 HP. Probably. Let's see. No, I removed that. So how much damage are we causing? Um, hmm, the damage 8, defense 0. So what's the HP? No, it's okay because yeah, let's create a new game. Um, for it to pick up like the newly updated stats for the rats. Let's just enter combat mode. Where's the rat? Let's attack the rat. And now it should have like this. Yeah, 20. Okay, that's better. That is actually dead already. Yeah, that's also not very good for us. I am tempted to just call it. Let's go to a real battle and see how these changes will be or affect their. Well, but that battle doesn't end because it has like an artificial ending. But let's enter combat mode. So I entered combat mode here, and now I'm going to try to exit combat mode, but I can't. And let's try to attack one of them, and then they are now in turn mode, which is great. And we're back to yellows. And is this cow going to be stronger than the rat? Let's see. Okay, so yeah, it's moving up away. I forgot what I'm going to test. I mean, it's like I just cannot leave combat mode, and when I kill it, I mean the only reason for this maybe is if we go away. I guess that's the only thing that will make sense. If I go away like a lot from the enemy and then try to leave combat, it seems we're still too near. Or if I am fleeing, I guess, and I manage to flee. I wonder what's the range. Because I'm already pretty far from the cow, so why can't I leave combat mode? Why can't I end combat? So this is safe around what range does it use? And actually, even for that case, it's going to end combat anytime we're safe. Once we're safe, it's going to end combat. If it thinks we're safe. But this is safe around thing seems to not be very lenient. Let's check into it and see what's going on. So there's a combat distance which is 10. So it's looking for a dangerous mob, and it's finding the cow, which is weird because I mean, what distance is the cow from us? It should only return it if it's close. So 10, 10 is pretty far. I mean, we're already what distance are we? Um, let's see. Um, how can I find the player here? What context are we on? Let's try just using. No, mob is not defined. Dangerous mob. None. Ha. What is our position? Who are we? Oh, we are the level. Okay. Um. Okay, but we got X and Y here. We can use this. 33. Yes, I mean we're already very far. So maybe there's a problem in this logic. Okay. So it seems that as long as a mob has been attacked and has a different alignment, he's going to be considered a dangerous mob, even if he's away. Hmm. I don't think that's good. Why? I wonder why I put the logic in place there. And I cannot think a reason for that. Cannot think of a reason for that. Um, I am tempted to remove that. Yeah, I mean the history of the code, the history of the project is like a burden here. But yeah, I mean even if a being has been attacked, if he is like beyond the combat distance range, I think. I mean, yeah, it's like we fled. Else we will never be able to flee a battle. I'm going to remove it. I'm going to remove it. Actually, I'm going to check first, just in case. Let's check um, the blame outline and see if we find anything interesting. But I don't think we're going to find anything interesting. Um, what's the file? It's level.class. And let's see, blame. That's line 275. Prevent far away mobs. That's 2 years ago. Prevent far away mobs from acting except if they have been hit. What did that? Prevent them from acting. If they've been hit, they can always act. Hmm. Hmm. Why did I add this? So the idea here is that if a mob has been attacked, he's always in combat. And why would that be true? It's like fight to the death. I'm not really sure. I mean, even if we remove this, I mean, if we revert this change, it can be safe around a place, even if the enemies are considered. Where is this used? Is in combat. Yeah, I think I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to uh, keep the rest because I think it makes sense. The idea here is that we should be able to leave combat even if we attacked an enemy, but we are now away from him. I don't see how these two things have to be tied up or tied together. Yeah, let's remove that. Let's remove this. Um, and just leave it like this, as it was before. Yeah. Okay. That will allow us to flee combat. And again, I think this command to end combat is completely useless. Um, let's say combat mode, attack the rat, and then we are in combat mode now. Let's walk away from the rat, and as soon as we are far enough, it's going to end combat. Yeah, so we did not really have to use the maybe the reason why I put that in place was that say this was a real enemy instead of a fleeing enemy, and as you can see it's still fleeing. It's just like fleeing in real time instead of fleeing in the turn-based mode. But yeah, I mean, if it was actively attacking us, it would probably come and attack us by these guys once we are back in attack range. And again, it maybe would be pretty hard to flee unless we find a way like to split the group and then a party member dies and the other one survives or something like that. Yeah, but I think I will leave it like this. Um, I mean, we cannot flee because they're going to follow us. So maybe only if a party member sacrifices, uh, that would be the only way for fleeing to work. Mm, yeah, I'm going to go ahead with that change. Maybe later I'll find out that it wasn't a good idea. Um, maybe we can also for this command to make more sense. We could like check if I mean change this is safe um, around function to not just check against the alignment but and the distance, but also to see if the mob is panicking. I mean, he is not going to be dangerous if he is panicking. And but yeah, again, that's like two different ways to consider a place to be safe, right? If we are in the middle of combat, we may want to attack the target until he dies. Sad, but I mean, we are explicitly in combat, but we may want to leave. But that's different than auto leave in combat because there are no aggressors nearby. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to add a parameter here. Check panic or include panicked, and I'm going to do this. If I am including panicked uh, enemies as dangerous, then if I am not including panicked enemies as dangerous, and this guy is panicked, what was the name of the panicked? And he's not dangerous. So a mob is considered dangerous if it's nearby and it's a different alignment, and also if it's not panicked, but only if I. This is a bit like a complex logic here. I'm going to split it so that it's easier to put here instead of this chain thing, and then we may optimize it or whatever, or not. I mean, why? So if we are asking to include panicked mobs as dangerous, there's that one thing. If not, that's the normal one. No, actually, the normal one is the one that considers. Yeah, there's a lot of language here, so is safe around. Is safe around, and consider panic are dangerous. So we are going to, if to consider that a panicked enemy is still dangerous, then we just check for this, right? That's like what we had before. But if we're not considering the panicked enemies to be dangerous, then let's see, let's let's simplify this here. If we are not considering panicked enemies as dangerous, but we already think this mob is dangerous, then we need to check, and if this mob is panicked, then we return false, else we return true, or is dangerous rather. Yeah, that should work. So what I want to do is that we will continue in battle against enemies that are panicked, but we can leave battle if we want. That's ultimately what I want to, and that's the only way that end combat command will have any reason to exist. And I guess it makes sense. I mean, maybe we decided to attack an animal and then decided not to kill it, and we want to leave combat. So here, so let's attack this guy. So enter combat mode, and then attack it, and then combat is over. Okay, but yeah, we didn't send this panic or dangerous. So let's check where we are using the is safe around function, and try to end combat. Panic are dangerous. We're going to send that to this function. And um, we're going to, in the usages for this, there should be two of them, right? So here, so if we press C, we don't consider panicked enemies to be a danger. But normally, in the normal end of turn, we consider them to be dangerous. I mean, we consider them to be enough uh, to continue fighting or to not leave combat mode automatically. That's going to be like the difference. And I'm going to again, for ease of testing, let's the the cow instead, or yeah, I like the YOLO's house is better for testing, so I'm going to use it. Um, let's use this one. I think I forgot to tell the guys on the Discord that we're going to start a stream session. Yeah, because this is the second one for the day. Let's do that. It's almost over actually, but let's do it anyways. Okay. And also let's spam here. So yeah, let's see how that works. What? Okay. So if we attack the cow, we enter combat mode, and we attack the cow. It's moving. Yeah, I'm going to note something here in the backlog. So beings that are in other stories are acting. I'm noting that because I see that the rat is taking a turn, and if you wonder what rat, there's a rat inside the building, but it probably should not be taking turns. It's like entirely off this combat. Anyways, as you can see, the combat is not being like auto finished or auto ended, even if the target is panicked, right? It's trying to flee. But we should be able to end combat using C. I'm a bit concerned that that cursor stood for a bit, but the cow still panicked, and we can enter combat again if we want. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of more sense, I believe. I mean, there's like that this distinction of ending combat because we want, and auto-ending combat because it's no longer dangerous. Yeah, I think there's a problem here because the cursor is staying. That's not very good. Um, that would be like the only part that is missing. That that cursor disappears when does that cursor disappear? I don't know. I mean, we're already calling end combat. End combat um, changes to exploration, does all this, but yeah, I mean, we'll have to track where that cursor is displayed, and probably like at the end of each turn, we're probably normally locating the marker in the actor, and we are not hiding the marker. That's what we gotta do. Um, hmm. Yeah, so it seems like we're missing a call here to hide marker. So when in combat mode, yeah, the problem is that we are no longer in combat mode. So it's not doing a lot of this stuff, I guess. But on the other hand, I believe we should be calling this. We can manually call this. Let's do that to avoid all the complexity. And just for our new safe around call, but that's done from somewhere else. Is safe around from the PlayStation machine itself. Okay. While it's over and hide the marker. Yeah, that's going to be good enough. If we enter combat mode, but it's over because we did not even attack anything, so there was no combat. Here, now there is combat, and if we leave combat, then there's no marker anymore. And okay, so it worked. Now I want to check like some edge cases here, like me frantically entering and leaving combat mode. But there's no problem, it seems. It's fine. Okay. All right. So good. That covers this part of being able to switch off combat mode. I'm going to commit the changes and go for the next one. So the changes are here. We are now having additional considerations to be able to say that it's safe around a given place, and that's here. And we don't need this import. That was an accidental import. And we are adding the a way to end combat using the C key. And we are this is just some code that we took into a function to be able to call it from that place as well. Yeah, that's all that we did. And this is allow ending combat using C while in combat mode. And no dangerous enemies nearby. Okay. And then we're off to this next part, the NPC Schedules, a favorite feature of a lot of people. But we are already over the time for today. I'm going to start tinkering on that. I actually already started thinking on how to do this, and I was just thinking that in the definitions for the NPCs, we could have the schedule itself, and the schedule would have like points where we want the mob to be at some given time of the day, and then we will just use pathfinding to try to get there and check like every 30 minutes or something like that if we got hit to a new position. I already anticipate we would probably have some issues with the doors because the pathfinding should consider them to be passable, and currently if they are closed they are considered solid, so that may be a potential issue. And also we're going to need to for them to be able to open the doors. And yeah, so that's probably what we're going to find when we try to hit this. But yeah, we're going to see that next week. This was a very productive week for OpenArthurian. Um, it seems that we are off to complete milestone 8, probably halfway through next week, which is great. Um, so thank you for watching, and I don't know what to say about like further conversation because normally I would invite you guys, anyone watching, to hit the Discord and discuss the project. That's currently not possible because of the restrictions that we put in place for the crowdfunding campaign, but I may lift that. Actually, what we need to do is get out of, I mean, achieve the version 1.0 as soon as possible. Once we do that, we can open a lot of stuff, put the code as in like a public repository, and also the Discord. We're probably going to do that pretty soon. In the meantime, you can just contact me on Twitter or hit the Ultimo Dragons Discord, and we can talk about this there in the fan projects channel. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching.